All right, so welcome to the sixth take of 13th episode of Financial Independence Retire Early in South Africa. My name is Bird. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'd also appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does go a long way in keeping the channel active and also in helping other people who are looking, for similar subject matter on YouTube, right? With the algorithm and all of that. This again is unlucky episode number 13, right? And that's why I'm going to talk about regressive or backwards financial behaviors that I used to have or other people may have that keep us stagnant, on our journey to financial independence, or basically just work against us on our journey to financial freedom or financial independence, right? For the sake of retiring early, or just for the sake of being free. You know what I'm saying? And number one, right? For me, number one, the worst, like regressive financial behavior, or the biggest, the most basic, the most fundamental mistake that people make as it relates to their finances is not having a budget. That just means you have no idea how much money is coming in, and even worse, you have no idea how much money is going out, right? That means you're moving blindly, right? And that's like the biggest mistake somebody can have. You need a deliberate budget. You need to know how much money is coming in. You need to know how much money is going out. Even for someone that's self-employed like me, right? I have a baseline income projection, and then I have a budget around that baseline income projection. So I make a budget. For example, if I make 300 rands a month, then I strategize that I'm going to save 20%. If I make 1,000 rand a month, I strategize that I'm going to save about 25%. So basically, I have at least a baseline budget as it relates to my income, even if my income is not fixed. So for people that have a 9 to 5, that have a fixed income, right, it should be that much easier or that much clearer for you to be able to have a deliberate budget, which number two feeds into not having, which is the biggest mistake, not having a deliberate saving and investment strategy, right? So the second mistake that people make is they don't have a deliberate saving or investment strategy. So how do you grow your money? Excuse me. How do you grow your money? What's your plan? Where are you going to invest your money? How are you saving your money? What interest rates are you making? So how do you become financially free, or how do you reach financial independence if you do not have a clear, deliberate saving and investment strategy? So for me, that's the second biggest mistake that people make. They do not have, a saving and investment strategy. And it feeds again into not having a deliberate debt repayment plan or a deliberate debt tracking plan. So if you don't have a budget, if you don't have a deliberate saving and investment strategy, you probably don't have, a deliberate debt tracking and debt repayment plan, right? And that even feeds into things like late payments, right? You get costs for late payments. So that means you even spend more money on your debt than you should have because you don't have a deliberate debt tracking or debt repayment plan. So these three things, I separate them, but they're intertwined. Not having a budget, not knowing how much exactly is coming in and out, where you're spending, how you're spending, why you're spending, right? Not having a deliberate saving and investment strategy on that same budget. And number three, not having a deliberate debt tracking and debt repayment plan. These are like some of the core biggest mistakes, the most fundamental mistakes that people make, as they're trying to understand their finances or just become financially free or financially literate or even just achieve financial independence. Is you don't have a budget, you're not planning about how much you're going to save or invest, and you're not planning about, how you're going to pay off your debt. I can say this coach of mine, Vangile Magwako, she has this challenge that she teaches us to do. It's called an bank account challenge. So what you're going to do is you're going to print, right, 3-month bank statement, right? And then you're going to go through it line for line. And then you're going to track your entire income and spending behavioral pattern. You're going to see exactly how much money is coming in. And then you're going to see exactly how much money is coming out. And then you're going to be able to track when, why, and how did I spend all this money. Right? And that assists in then having a deliberate debt repayment plan and a deliberate saving and investment strategy. So you need to go through your bank account for at least the past 3 months and see exactly how much you're spending and exactly how much money was coming in, so that you can more effectively have a budget that has a debt repayment plan and that has a saving and investment strategy. So these are like the fundamental mistakes that we make on our journey to financial independence. The fourth, right, mistake that people have is that we don't have an emergency fund. Right? You don't save away money for a rainy day, right? And I don't mean a rainy day like splurging, going on vacation. No, I mean for something like a car crash, something like, emergency hospital visit, just an unexpected um, cash, emergency that may happen in your life, and you don't have an emergency fund that can feed into that unexpected cash intensive emergency. So people say that you need an emergency fund that's worth at least 6 months of your income. So if you make 10,000 rands a month, your emergency fund, which is separate from your savings, which is separate from your investments, right, should be at least 60,000 rands, or 6 months of your income. And that is like the best emergency fund for any kind of emergency that may happen, that may demand a large sum of cash. So not having an emergency fund is the fourth biggest mistake after not having a budget and saving and investing, right? Not having an emergency fund that is separate from your investments, that is separate from your savings, right? You need an emergency fund to be able to take care of any cash demanding emergency in your life or in your loved one's life. So again, it's not having a budget, not saving and investing, not having a debt repayment plan, and not having an emergency fund, right? And then number 5, I'll say, I'll say impulse spending, but also group thinking, but mostly impressing people and trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I will summarize all of that by saying, not having a low self-esteem. Friends of mine like to joke around, and we say having a low self-esteem is very expensive, right? I like to say having a low self-esteem is very expensive. Bantu Biko, Steve Biko once said, please don't quote me verbatim, but to paraphrase him, he said, spiritual want or spiritual poverty coupled with material want is just like recipe for disaster. You know what I'm saying? So spiritual poverty coupled with material want, is just like a cause for self-destruction, right? So you need at least a high sense of self-knowledge. You need to know who you are. You need a high sense of self-acceptance. So self-alienation and low self-esteem are very expensive. You need self-acceptance. You need, a relative healthy level of self-esteem, so that you don't do things like impulse spending. So you don't spend money to keep up with your friends or to keep up with the Joneses. So you don't fall into group thinking, just because somebody in your family is doing better, or somebody from work is doing better, somebody that in your life is doing better than you, then you spend money unnecessarily, right? To feed your ego, to feed your esteem, right? Because you again don't have a high level of self-acceptance. So to paraphrase, and also I need to say, I don't want to downplay how difficult depression is. I don't want to downplay how difficult mental health is, and I don't want to downplay the effects of oppression or depression in people's lives and how they react to materialism and crass consumption. But I need to say that having a low self-esteem is very, very expensive, and it works against, oh my God, it's such a hole in your pocket, or hole in your bucket as you're trying to fill it with water. It works against being financially free, and having financial independence, right? So I'll say, yeah, low self-esteem, right? Or just impulse spending, group thinking, impressing people, keeping up with the Joneses, spending money that you don't have on things that you don't need to impress people that you don't even know, that you probably don't even like. You know what I'm saying, to paraphrase Will Smith. So that's why I'm saying, like, low self-esteem is very expensive. Spiritual want, a spiritual poverty coupled with material want is just recipe for self-destruction, right? So another regressive financial behavior, financial belief, or financial pattern is group thinking, impulse spending, and keeping up with the Joneses, as it relates to having a low self-esteem or self-alienation, and not having self-knowledge and self-acceptance. Just buying things that because they're on sale. I'm just gonna throw that in there. It's a part of all of that. Just buying things just because they're on sale. Things that you don't need. Just regressive financial behavior. You know what I'm saying? And also, lastly but not leastly, also very, very importantly, this also taps into what I was just speaking about right now, but not being able to have a healthy conversation about money. That's like a red flag. If you're going to be in a relationship with someone, if you're going into business with someone and you're trying to talk about finances or money, and they're always trying to like avoid the topic or avoid the subject, or they're like just not being clear, or they just get anxious or frustrated or confused even, and they just don't know how to speak healthily about money, That's, a core symptom, of people that have very, negative or regressive financial behaviors and financial patterns or financial beliefs. Even somebody having a belief like, money is the root of all evil, or that they can never be rich, or that they don't deserve wealth, or that only another race or another group of people, are made for success or deserve all the nice things. This is like just this core belief or this core thinking where, money makes you anxious, or you can't talk healthily about money, or, just money makes you frustrated, or you just makes you feel very impatient and short tempered, or you just can't have a healthy conversation about making money, or spending money, or even thinking about money. So that is another, like, again, a core regressive financial behavior or financial um, pattern or financial belief around money. And it's one of our stumbling blocks, one of the biggest things that works against people, groups of people that are trying to achieve financial freedom or financial independence, right? So just to go through these things again, in my humble opinion, from, the most important maybe to the least, is having a high sense of self-worth, having a high sense of self-esteem, so that you do not fall trap into things like impulse spending, group thinking, impressing people, because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or just like, yeah, right. And also, not number two, not being able to talk healthily about money, right? Money making you feel impatient, thinking about money making you feel frustrated, or confused, um, not necessarily having a healthy approach to making money, right? Not having a healthy approach to wealth, right? Not having a healthy approach to power. That's again number second biggest for me causes of regressive financial behaviors, right? And then it feeds into not having a budget, right? Not knowing exactly how much money you're making or spending, right? Not being able to track your income, not being able to track your expenses, and thus not being able to have a deliberate saving and investment strategy, right? Not having a deliberate debt tracking and debt repayment plan, right? Not having an emergency fund, right? Not being able to take care of any financial cash demanding emergencies that may happen, right? And always paying your bills late, right? Always asking for money, right? And buying things just because they're on sale, right? Like I said, in my opinion, from like the most important to the least important, the most important, just having a strong sense of self worth, being able to think healthily about money and wealth, having a budget, having a payment plan, having a saving investment strategy, having an emergency fund, and not buying things just because they're on sale. You know what I'm saying? And paying your debts on time, and not constantly asking random people or your friends and family for money unnecessarily. You know? So this is the 13th episode, and I spoke about backwards, regressive, negative financial behaviors and financial mindsets, right? That people take, which keep us stagnant on our journey to financial independence and financial freedom, for the sake of retiring early, or just for the sake of being financially free, man. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. I'm gonna leave all of my um, community details in the description. So I hope you hit me up on either of my socials, or even on WhatsApp. Just might even give me a call and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then we can grow this community of people, individuals, organizations, even institutions, right, who are trying to help people have better financial literacy, so they become financially free, and financially independent. For the sake of retiring early, or just for the sake of having a better quality of life. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Hit the like and subscribe one more time. Uh, yeah, my name is Bird. Bye.